Hello everybody, this is Jacob Varro for a build update. So I got a plexiglass that I installed. I'll explain how I did it, and of course criticism's welcome, but I already know I could have done better, but it is what it is. So that's my first build update there. Is if anybody's watching's new, I have a single phi SP4 V2 12 Plus installed. I just got it installed last night into my enclosure. So there you go, you guys can see all of the tape installed inside of the enclosure, and I'll explain in a minute how I did the plexiglass. So that's the main part of this video. So my system's not the prettiest, but my goal is to try to get as loud as possible with what I have. All right, so what I started off with before, if anybody saw, was this was literally just a baffle with two pieces of birch all the way across. So what I did was I went to Home Depot. I got a sheet of plexiglass. I think it was 24 inches by 18 inches. I think it was around $25–30 or something like that. And brought it home. I measured it out, pretty much what I wanted. So I went with a 10 by 10 plexiglass hole, which is close and almost near exact size of the cone. So that would be a good reference point for how I did that. So I cut the plexiglass first, and if I had a if I messed up, then I could have done another one. So that's a good thing. So what I did was, I didn't mess up though, of course. I used a jigsaw, and I cut square. I cut a whole inch. Sorry, it's flies are out here. I cut it about an inch wider on all four corners or edges. So I first cut the plexiglass, and then I went and used that as a reference to cut the actual cutout. So this is an 1.5 inch thick birch. And then I used a jigsaw after I measure squared it. And of course a jigsaw is not going to be perfect, and of course I'm not the best at this, but it works. I have a couple of slopes here you can see that might be slightly off. It looks a little worse on camera than it does in person, but I got about 1/4 inch slope on some of these corners because I literally started with 4 screw holes and then went from 4 screw holes and then jigsaw it across 4 times and then sanded it and rounded it over. So there you go for the plexiglass. That's how I installed it. But one more thing. So the way I installed it on the back end was I had screws. So there's screws here. Every corner I drilled a hole into the screws, and then I did 3 screws on each center point all the way around. So I have 4 times 4. I have 16 screws in this plexiglass edged all the way around. And I just drilled out the holes before I screwed them in. I did almost crack the glass once. I tightened a little too much, so whenever I use the drill, I just set the torque a little bit lower. I learned that afterward. But then I just taped over it, and that's it. That's how the plexiglass looks. So the plexiglass thickness is, I think it's 1/3 inch. So I had to custom order anything over 1/3 inch from local shop, and I was just in a hurry. So I was like, I'm just going to make it work with what I had. And worst case scenario, I could just buy a thicker plexiglass later. It is still fairly small, so 10 by 10 is not too big. So it shouldn't be flexing much. And worst case scenario, like I said, I can take it out and replace it. But 10 by 10 plexiglass view into the subwoofer. So I can see the sub now when it's flexing, and just for view. And now that's how it looks. And that's how I made it. Hope you guys like it. Let me know, comment, ask questions if you'll have any curiosity. Just think of this concept in any build, whether you have a wall build or a subwoofer no wall build. Could have put plexiglass right here, could have put it right here. You could put it in the side loading wall on your wall build. People do that too on the side. I've even seen people do plexiglass with amp racks inside of the box. There's a lot of different options. There you go. So I highly recommend, if you do have one recommendation, is go with a minimum of 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. Just because you're better safer to be thicker, because you know how you get baffle flex. Well, you're going to get glass flex. So you want to make sure you have durability with that plexiglass. And of course, you guys that are experts can comment, give me feedback, because I'm not the best at this. First time actually doing it. I've never done that before. First time doing plexiglass, so definitely was a fun experience. There you guys go. Stay tuned for a video soon with a demo. You guys will get to see it playing. First turn on, of course, and I got retweaks and tuning. But I'm not going to be doing any more port tweaks or anything until after I get the subwoofer broken in first. And then I'll probably tape up more of the box. All these holes in the top with the tape is literally just areas where I tested with bracing and port adjustment. And I just taped over the holes. I can easily fill those with wood glue and paint over it, stain it or whatever. I don't need any tape. So may look into that. But since I do a lot of changes, staining ain't going to be a good go because I'll end up pulling the loading wall out, screwing over the stain, and then just damaging it. So probably tape will be my stay to thing. All right, and that's the video. Stay tuned for more build updates. Thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all always watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one. Nice and clear plexiglass view to that subwoofer. So before I couldn't see it with the other box build with the single 10, I couldn't put my head in there. Now I'm able to put my phone in there a little easier. Bigger port area since it's a larger cone area, but also I could just view the sub. That'll be some nice flex videos to come too. All right, I'll see you all next time.